Anyway, joining us with reaction, Fox News contributor Jonathan Turley, the host of Sunday Night in America. Fox News' Trey Gowdy is with us. Guys, good to see you both. Jonathan, you've been with us from the beginning. Look, I was pretty realistic. We both communicated often, on air and off air. I think this is a culmination of the weaponization of our system of justice now for a long time for people. I think it's an extraordinarily dangerous time for America. If you look at everything that we talked about and the judge and the conflicts that he had and the judge being a Biden donor and what the judge allowed in closing arguments and jury instructions, the way he treated the defense in this case, when you put it all together, it really isn't surprising, is it?
No, it's not surprising. The instructions had that feel, I called it in a column yesterday, of a canned hunt, where you actually shoot game in a cage, because in defense of some of those jurors, they may have not seen any alternative but conviction. I mean, keep in mind, this judge allowed the government to repeatedly tell them that it was a fact that an election violation occurred and that Trump had ordered it. Judge Merchan stayed absolutely silent during that statement over and over again, even though it violated his instruction. And to this day, we won't know what the jury really decided on the conspiracy. I was in that courtroom listening to 34 guilty verdicts, but they didn't say what the jury thought had happened. They were unanimous only that some crime, some secondary crime occurred. Judge Merchan did not require them to reach unanimity on what that crime was. So it's going to go on appeal, and the appellate court won't know any more than we have in terms of knowledge as to, was this an election violation, another falsification of documents, a tax violation? That's just simply not in the record.
You know, and Trey, let me bring you in here. And this was a point that Jonathan had made and I'd made over and over again. The jury had been told dozens and dozens of times that the payments were campaign violations, especially in closing, that 6-hour closing. The judge let all of that go uncontradicted in this case. Then you have the issue of, you know, the 444, where you could just think he's guilty. You can have one group thinking he's guilty for 4 people think he's guilty for A, 4 for B, 4 for C. Well, that is a direct violation of the U.S. Supreme Court decision, the 2020 decision of Ramos versus Louisiana, Andres versus the U.S. But again, this was allowed. Now, I believe it's overturned on appeal, but when's that appeal going to happen, Trey? Did you ever see anything like this? You know, you were a prosecutor. I don't think you ever lost a case.
Well, the jury was unanimous, Sean, in its lack of unanimity. You're right. I tried cases where I had to prove an additional crime. Every death penalty case, you have to prove murder plus something else beyond a reasonable doubt, and the verdict, the jury has to specify what that additional crime is. As Jonathan and I sit here tonight, we can't tell you whether it was one of those 3, whether it was some other crime that's nebulous that we don't know about. I came last week to this courtroom. I'd heard rumors that the judge was pro-prosecution. Look, I was a prosecutor, as you pointed out. I spent 4 days in the courtroom. Not just pro-prosecution, Sean. I mean, I would struggle to think of a significant objection by the defense that was actually sustained. And the tone with which he treated the counsel was disparate. He let the prosecutor, I mean, Andy and Jonathan and I were talking about the defense, I think, failed to object sometimes during the prosecution closing argument because they had battered lawyer syndrome. They had just been beaten up for weeks and weeks. So will it be overturned on appeal? I can think of 5 different ways that it can be, but I don't think it'll happen before the election, which, to your other point, the best revenge is success. If you want a justice system that doesn't elect a district attorney who promises to go after a political opponent, then you need to win at the ballot box. I mean, Alvin Bragg, name me another crime that he's gotten really, really exercised about. It's not shoplifting. It's not stealing. It's not hitting people on the street. It is alleged hush money to keep someone quiet about a sexual encounter. That's what really gets his attention.
An 8-year-old case over $130,000 payment, you know, you really, it does boggle the mind. A misdemeanor whose statute of limitations have run out. But somehow, when did a local New York City courtroom become a place to try a federal election crime, Jonathan Turley? Because that seems rather novel to me as well, or a federal tax crime.
Well, that's what was so maddening about Bragg's comments tonight when he kept on saying, no, this is just standard stuff. You know, at some point, you just strange credulity. You have to admit this has never been attempted before. Even other networks have said that. Other networks have said that this wouldn't have been brought against anyone other than Trump. And that's something that if you're an honest person, you have to accept. This was a political use of the criminal justice system to create this novel, you know, effort. And I think in the end, what you have to tell people who are upset about this is Manhattan is not the entirety of this nation. We're bigger than this case. We're bigger than this district. We have a system that has proven itself over and over again in history. But we all have to take a leap of faith. We have to take a breath.
But Jonathan, let me ask you, if I may.
As Blanche said today,
we have a weaponized Department of Justice under Joe Biden. Remember, the third highest ranking official left that prestigious position to come in and work on this case. You know, do you agree with me that DOJ is weaponized? I think it's pretty clear it is.
Well, this case, I think, has really fulfilled the argument of many that you have a weaponized system. The fact that Coangelo came from the third position in DOJ to help lead this case really reaffirmed that. But, you know, being in that room, you had a sense of history, and it was overwhelming. The question is what history it made. Yeah, they convicted a former president. But they may have also gotten this country to focus in a way that has never happened before on the misuse of the legal system. And so history may have been made in a different way. This may galvanize Americans, including some that don't like Donald Trump, but they don't like what was done in this case to get Donald Trump. And I had a feeling that of the sense of history in both ways in that courtroom.
Trey, we'll give you the last word. What do you think the outcome of this is? Professor Dershowitz, who will join us later, thinks that this is really a precedent-setting moment and that this lawfare is only going to continue because they were successful using it.
At some point, it has to stop, Sean. And look, do I blame allegedly progressive prosecutors or really defense attorneys masquerading as prosecutors? I do. But I really blame voters who will elect people to go after certain targeted individuals. Prosecutors go after crime. They do not go after people. And there's a reason the lady wears a blindfold, Sean. There's a reason for it. She's not supposed to care whether you're Republican, Democrat, black, white, male, female. If we don't get back to those days, I mean, you asked Professor Turley about the weaponization of DOJ. Just look at what was done to Jeff Fortenberry, and then look at what was not done to the U.S. Attorney in the District of Massachusetts. They had her on a false statement. Nothing happened to her. So treat people the same. Be fair. If we lose that, then we've lost our justice system.
Well, Mar-a-Lago was raided. Hillary Clinton, no reasonable prosecutor would prosecute. Delete 33,000 emails. Take money, give it to a law firm, funnel it to an op research firm, hire a guy, Christopher Steele, get a dirty Russian dossier, use it to acquire 4 FISA warrants. No problem. And that is, and Joe Biden has problems with classified and top secret documents. He didn't get raided. This is what Americans are seeing tonight, and it is a scary moment, I think, for the country. But thank you both. We appreciate you staying up late tonight. I know you guys have been working hard. Thank you.